The day I was kicked out of my adopted home by that wealthy family, the butler shoved me like a beggar and threw a 10,000 yuan bank card at my feet. Take 10,000, the price of your 18 years of youth, and go back to your poor village. Behind me, the Yu family's real sons and relatives were happily joking. They were all waiting to see how this fake son would wander the streets. But they had no idea that the moment the door closed, I was the very moment I caused a commotion in the Jiang family, the richest in Qingdu. The richest grandfather sat with tears in his eyes, brewing dragon preserved tea. At a single signal from the 6 powerful sisters, hundreds of limousines raced to the southern city, all to restore the status of their brother, lost for 18 years. And the most hilarious thing was that the medical institution the Yun family had been trying to please was on the verge of collapse at that very moment. All because I issued an extortion order on the dark web. The butler threw a 10,000 yuan card at my feet, saying, "Young Master Jiang, this is what sir you sent. That's all the compensation for 18 years of youth." I picked up my only black bag and didn't even look at the card. The butler's face immediately turned irritated. Who is pretending? Without the Yun family, you're nothing but a poor villager. With that, he slammed the door shut. Sounds of laughter echoed from upstairs. They were all waiting to witness my wandering on the street. Meanwhile, the old Jiang sir, known as the Dragon Elder, from Jingdu's wealthiest Jiang family, was lashing out at his 6 granddaughters. It's been 18 years. There's still no news of your brother. The 6 overbearing sisters immediately bowed their heads, their eyes filled with guilt. Just then, a woman ran in, panting, her voice trembling. "Chairman Young Master has been found." Old Young Sahib suddenly stood up. His hands were shaking. "Where is he? Go and get him immediately." "He's in the southern city." A convoy of cars immediately set off, with great fanfare, towards the southern city. But they had no idea that I hadn't gone to the village they were thinking of, but had returned to my own home. A completely ordinary-looking old colony. As soon as I parked, the fruit vendor enthusiastically handed me an apple. "Xingxi has finally arrived. My old knee pain was waiting for you." The uncle playing chess next to me also came over. "Xingxi, my old hand tremor has returned." Who knew? These ordinary-looking uncles and aunts were actually such great men that a single stamp of their feet would shake the entire area. And I was the one they called Dr. Deradeka, Dr. Jiang. I said with a slight laugh, "Okay, tomorrow in the square, I'll give everyone acupuncture at once. Don't forget to soak the medicine bag, and yes, don't stay up all night fixing the needles." Uncle and auntie immediately become embarrassed. They repeatedly promised to be asleep by 10 o'clock. Just then, colony director Ho comes running in, a smile on his face. "Dr. Jiang, you're finally back. I've always had someone to keep an eye on your house. No one can come near." Director Ho says flatteringly, "Dr. Jiang, you won't leave this time, right?" I nod calmly, "I won't." Hearing this, he breathes a sigh of relief and leaves, thanking me repeatedly. I turn around and open the door with an old key. But behind the door, an LCD password lock suddenly appears. Do I need to turn on AR recognition? A cold electronic voice resounds. As the red light falls on my eyes, the iron door automatically opens. All the lights in the room immediately turn on. The 2-meter-high bookcase is filled with books on traditional Chinese medicine. A rare BMW motorcycle sits quietly in the middle of the living room. This is, in fact, my real home. I've just gotten some water from the fridge when the phone on the table rings. "Boss, wake up. It's time to get the car. Jingdu's richest man is visiting his grandson in the southern city. They're looking for him. He's a big order." Again, the richest man in Jingdu. I laugh and say, "I'm not interested." Oh, wait, there's another explosive news. The voice on the other end of the phone hurries over. "The Yen family from 49 cities is looking for you. They're offering you 10 million in gold." 10 million, I'm interested. "Send the terms, I'll see." The next moment, the information flashes on the window pane. The Yen family is a 100-year-old traditional medicine dynasty. The third young mistress, weakened by years, is looking for a cure. The Caesar Hotel in the southern city has issued an open invitation. It's interesting. I stretch my legs and say, "I'll take it on order." The next day, to avoid traffic in the hot sun, I take a shared bicycle and set off, clutching the oil stick Uncle Liang gave me. Half an hour later, a group of expensive cars is parked in front of the Caesar Hotel. Meanwhile, my rickety bicycle looks extremely out of place. The car hasn't even stopped when the security guard comes running. Go, go, go. Where did this poor student come from? This place is closed to the public today. I park my bicycle, keeping my eyes level. I've come to save someone's life. The guard bursts out laughing. The boy who saved lives is young, but he boasts a lot. He looks at me contemptuously and is about to continue his mockery. But I don't have time to argue. I simply say, "Please go inside and tell them that the divine hand has come on invitation." The guard pauses for a moment. Then he laughs. "Divine hand, or God, I've seen so many invitations, but I've never seen anyone like you leave a shared bicycle. Get out of here." As soon as the conversation ends, an expensive car pulls up. The guard immediately puts on a flattering smile. He rushes to open the door. "Oh, you young master, you've come." The people in the car just nod coldly. But the guard perks up, as if he's received a great favor. As the car passes me, the boy in the window seems to recognize me. A moment of hesitation crosses her face. But I don't care. A regal smile twitches at the corner of my lips. Once, I could decide life and death with a single needle. Now, a security guard is taunting me like a dog. I take out my phone. I'm about to refuse this family on orders when I hear screams from somewhere nearby. Too bad a child has fainted. Without wasting a moment, I abandon my bicycle and run towards the crowd. A little girl, about 3 or 4 years old, is lying on the ground. Her face is pale and her entire body is covered in sweat. A young woman in a white coat is holding her nearby, but she's repeatedly waving her hands away. "Auntie, the girl's family isn't here." I couldn't interfere unnecessarily. I simply pushed the crowd aside, saying, "Everyone, make way. The patient needs air." My commanding presence immediately silences the surroundings. I crouch down, my fingers reaching for the little girl's neck. One of the ladies can't resist. "Son, how old are you? Can you do it? Wait for the ambulance." Without raising my head, I quickly loosened the girl's frock and slid her into the shade. "Auntie and uncle, don't worry. I have a medical license," I said calmly. "Auntie and uncle, don't worry. I have a medical license." With that, I opened my bag. A folding medical box immediately opened. Inside, acupuncture needles and scalpels were arranged in a row, radiating a cold glow. I was just about to pick up the needles when the boy in the white coat grabbed my hand. How can you just inject a patient? I ignored him. I continued to count the girl's pulse. But he didn't back down. I'm a student at Shanghai University. Zhou Yuan, my teacher, is a renowned physician. A medical license at your age, he said. Even aunt and uncle know that you should wait for 120. Don't you understand? I looked at him coldly. Waiting for 120 is delaying treatment. This is what your teacher taught you. You're the one delaying treatment. Go away, Yuvan's face flushed with anger. Stop this pseudoscientific traditional medicine nonsense. Let me perform CPR. I gave him a cold look. Its heat tongue. Will you perform CPR? Do you even understand the treatment? Who are you talking to? I don't understand. Go away, Yuan was completely enraged. Do you even know who my teacher is? I just returned from abroad with an award. I didn't have time to argue with him. I'm not interested in knowing. Go away. The girl's lips were turning blue. It was clear there was no heart problem. Zhou Yuan continued arguing. I said with a cold laugh, lips turned blue and heat tongue too. The difference is that the pulse remains steady. The skin on the lips is dry and cracked. Obviously, it's from prolonged exposure to heat. You didn't even notice these basic symptoms and you say you're a student at Shanghai University. The people watching nearby started talking. Yeah, man, this Shanghai guy doesn't seem to be anything special either. The uncle standing nearby started praising me. This guy turned out to be trustworthy. He's so adept at taking pulses. Zhou Yuan still spoke dismissively. Even if she has a fever, I'm still telling her to move. I don't know why. Zhou Yuan crossed his arms, looking like a spectator. Okay, I'll move aside. I'll see how much you brag, you boy. If you fix her, I'll kneel down and call you my father. I curled my lips. I'll wait to hear your father. As I said this, a flash of light flashed in my hand. The first needle landed right on the spot. The girl immediately stirred, as if she had regained consciousness. Yuan's eyes widened. How is this possible? The crowd erupted in a commotion. The girl regained consciousness with just one needle. Without changing my expression, I inserted the second needle. A slight blood was drawn from the puncture site. The next moment, the girl suddenly opened her eyes. Her black, shiny pupils stared straight at me. Everyone was astonished. This boy just pricked her with 2 needles, and she was cured. I pressed the needles, stopping the bleeding, and began to explain, Uncle, this wasn't done for nothing. Drawing blood from this specific point reduces heat and awakens consciousness. Her illness was caused by heat. Acupuncture reduces high fevers. Zhou Yuan continued, still sarcastically. You're speaking as if you're a real doctor. I think you brought this girl to this state. She hasn't said a word yet. An uncle couldn't tolerate it. The girl has regained consciousness. What side effects are you talking about? Is the girl avoiding apologizing? Zhou Yuan's face changed. He started talking nonsense. I understand you two are in cahoots. One puts on an act. The other gathers the crowd. Together, you cheat. I already knew there's no good among you traditional medicine practitioners. My eyes went cold. I was about to say something when the girl suddenly spoke, her voice clear and resonant. Traditional medicine is the pride of our Chinese culture. Auntie shouldn't have left her studies incomplete. She should read more books in the future. Zhou Yuan froze. His face flushed as if he'd been slapped hard. Loud laughter erupted all around. Hey, Shanghai University guy, did you hear where you were? Read more books. He was filled with shame and anger. He started swearing. A bunch of paupers. I don't have time to argue with low-class people like you. I just glanced away. His lips went cold in my hand. His face went pale. But I was smiling. I calmly reminded him. Are you forgetting something? His eyes darted around. What did you forget? I gently tapped the phone. Apologize in a completely fearless tone. Call me father. He resorted to excuses again. Anyone can make a wrong diagnosis. Who will testify to what I said? Then he started shouting even more shamelessly, pointing his finger at everyone. You all don't even have enough to treat Gozer. I swear your entire life's worth to you, you bunch of wretches. Hearing this, I was completely enraged. I carelessly tossed a candy. Go straight ahead. It hit Yuvan's knee. With a thud, both his knees went weak. He fell to his knees with a thud. His face twisted in intense pain. He tried to get up, but his body felt frozen. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. I stood in front of him, looking him up and down, my voice cold as ice. You, a medical student, couldn't even do the basics of examining, questioning, and testing, and you've just made an arbitrary diagnosis. Being a doctor isn't about considering yourself superior to others, but about treating with a sense of saving lives. Your knowledge is weak, and so is your morals. I accept this kneeling today. Consider me cleaning the field on behalf of your teacher. Go away. Yuvan, filled with fear and anger, tried to get up, but couldn't move. He yelled at me, what have you done to me? I'll call the police. As soon as he finished speaking, the uncle standing nearby became enraged. Daughter, you got down on your knees yourself. We all saw it. Don't pretend. Another enthusiastic uncle shouted loudly. Look everyone, look, the student of Shanghai University turned out to be weak in studies. He knelt down apologizing. At this, Zhou Yuan's face turned red like a pig's liver. He bowed his head as if he wanted to disappear into the ground. But his gaze looking at me became more and more venomous. I did not have time to look at him again. But if this really happens again, I will have no problem breaking his leg. The matter was resolved. Many aunts and uncles came to me and started asking for my number. One uncle asked curiously, son, how can you get this injection done? Is there a traditional healer at home? I added everyone by scanning their QR code. Smiling, I replied, this is traditional medicine I learned from my grandmother. She's opened her own health center. Just then, the little girl who had been standing quietly nearby came running. Lifting her tiny face, she said with a sincere heart, brother, thank you for saving Xiaoxi. If it weren't for you, I would have died today. I bent down and looked at her. Your name is Xiaoxi. Your family, she said, pointing to the hotel in the distance. They're all inside. The crowd erupted in conversation. Everyone coming to Caesar Hotel today is a man of high status. I heard there's even someone from a famous family of healers. I'm not surprised to hear this. After all, this girl's watch alone is so expensive. So I'll explain it to her. Next time you go out, don't forget to take a bodyguard with you. I was about to close my medical box and leave when this little girl suddenly grabbed my head. I couldn't ride the bicycle anymore. I bent down and look at her. She doesn't say anything. She just holds the corner of my dress. I take one step, and she follows suit. This isn't going to work. I have to stop. I'll drop you home. She nods immediately. Okay. I'll tell my family to thank Bia properly. I wave my hand away. No need to thank you. I don't ask children for treatment. Hearing this, she blinks and suddenly asks, so Bia, do you have a girlfriend? I pause for a moment. No. She claps her hands again. Excellent. So, I'll ask my third sister to offer herself to Bia, to repay this favor. My third sister may not talk much, but she's very beautiful, and many boys want to marry her. Watching her all-out marketing makes me laugh and cry at the same time. I have no intention of getting married right now. Hearing this, the little girl immediately bows her head sadly. But as soon as we reach the hotel gate, she's full of enthusiasm again. Pulling my hand, she says, brother, first meet my third sister. You'll decide after meeting her. You'll definitely like my third sister. I laugh at her antics. You're putting so much effort into promoting your sister. She murmurs softly. Your sister knows, she says. She's always sick. Her family wants her to marry a good boy quickly. Brother, your treatment is good. You're also handsome, so I should definitely try for my third sister. Seeing her dry, pale lips, I buy a bottle of water and a packet of biscuits and hand it to her. Speak less, you're not completely well yet. This little girl can't open the bottle. Holding the bottle, she begs me, brother, help me. Just then, a car pulls up on the side of the road. A woman in a formal suit quickly gets off and runs, grabbing Xiaoxi. Little mistress, we finally found you. It's good that nothing happened to you, Xiaoxi says, pointing to me. This brother just saved me. Assistant Su looks at me, then hands me a card. Thank you so much, Mr. Jiang. This is a thank you gift. You know my surname is Jiang, so it means you know me. I smile mockingly. Your words don't sound like a thank you, but like a quick breakup. Xiaoxi's face changes for a moment. Mr. Jiang, you're misunderstanding. She quickly turns and tells Xiaoxi, Miss Boss has come to pick you up. He's in the car. You haven't even taken your afternoon medicine. Hearing this, Xiaoxi immediately raises her head in surprise, as if she hadn't expected her third sister to come out. I follow her gaze. The window of the My Bag car parked in the distance rolls down slightly. The shadow of the man sitting inside is faintly visible. His hand is clenched into a fist, resting near his lips, as if trying to suppress a cough. As a doctor, I'm extremely sensitive to the smell of medicine. As soon as the window opens, I smell a faint odor of medicine. He's been suffering from a long-term illness, often afraid of the light. Brother, wait a moment, don't go anywhere. With that, Xiaoxi quickly runs toward the car. I shake my head, but as soon as she's gone, I stand up straight. I leave the smell of medicine behind, turn around, and walk away. I don't even look back. Assistant Su clearly breathes a sigh of relief when she sees me leave. Perhaps she was afraid that I, the fake Sun the Yun family cast out, would go after their little mistress. The woman in the car caresses Xiaoxi's head and asks with a smile, so this is the one who saved you. Xiaoxi turns around and sees that I'm gone. She immediately becomes anxious. Where has brother gone? He promised to wait for me. Assistant Su, you're the one who drove them away. Assistant Su trembles with fear. She quickly explains. Miss, Mr. Yi Jiang doesn't have a good reputation. I was afraid he would, they have some other motive behind coming to you. They don't even recognize you. Xiao goes red with the same emotion. It's your fault for letting me faint on the roadside. If it weren't for brother, I would have died long ago. Third sister, I found a brother-in-law with so much difficulty. Now it's all over. The woman in the car looks up. The driver is driving. A beautiful but sickly face appears in the rearview mirror. You don't need to worry about my wedding. Then she orders Assistant Su, because you know the one who saved Xiaoxi's life. Send some things first. In a few days, I'll take Xiaoxi to visit her home myself. I had just seen off the little girl. I was preparing to return home on my bicycle when suddenly a reproachful voice echoes near my ears. How are you here? I turn around and look. Oh wow, my adopted daughter. I should go mother. Zyro is staring at me with a sideways glance. Behind him, his adopted father, Yu Buchu, numerous relatives from the Zhou family, and his newly returned biological son, Yu Qinglai, stand surrounding an elderly woman like a moon. Zhou Zyro immediately tries to hide me by her side, afraid that the people behind might see me. She lowers her voice to the very bottom. Xingxi, we spoke clearly yesterday. You're not going to your biological parents in the village. What's the fuss about coming here? Then she pulls out a card. I know you're used to a life of affluence. But we have no obligation to raise you. Take this 500 rupees and leave immediately. In her eyes, leaving the family like this means I've become a penniless poor man. Just then, the elderly woman suddenly asks, Zyro, who is this? Go away, Zyro immediately smiles. He's a distant relative. I found him suddenly. He looked poor, so you're helping him a little. He's a good adoptive son of mine. Father Yubuchuan also comes over and explains in a pretentious tone. This child's condition is also not good. He was speaking of pity, but it was clear in his eyes. Why haven't you left yet? She says this and forces the card into my hand. Xingxi, take the money and leave. Today is Qinglai's day to learn medicine from her teacher. Don't make a fuss here. Learn medicine from your teacher. I didn't even have time to reply. But hearing those 4 words, the corners of my lips curled up automatically. They were thinking I'd take the money and leave. The next moment, I tossed the card back. With great speed and precision, Zhao screamed on the spot. What are you doing? We're doing you a favor. You're going too far. I say with a cold laugh, you're doing me a favor. I have no interest in watching your drama. You sir, keep this little money for your Zhao madam. After all, it must take a lot of hard work to go from being a younger wife to a senior wife. Hearing this, everyone present turned dark. Even the elderly woman frowned. It was clear she had no idea. Just then, the real son, who was getting special attention, jumped in to try and calm the situation. Papa, Mummy, let's go inside and eat. My good adoptive father, Yun Buchum, is the ultimate show-off. He glares at me and scolds me in a pretentious manner. You come from a humble background. You don't know how to talk. We won't argue with you. My adoptive mother, Ja, was staring at me. Tears were welling up in her eyes. I let her stare. This made her even more furious, almost jumping up. Immediately, Yun Qinglai started his drama again. First, he calmed Jawa down. Mom, don't get angry. There's no need to do all this to a stranger. Guzer is a sensible man. They won't believe rumors. Then he turns to me, a look of complete sincerity on his face. Brother, I apologize on behalf of my mother. If you don't want the money, don't come after us. I'm afraid my mother will insult you again. What a cunning boy, apologizing outwardly, but secretly demeaning me. Poor people are always the majority, just as he implied. The way the people around me looked at me changed. They began to think he was a wonderful gentleman, and I was just a spectator looking for petty advantage. A very mean soul. But they didn't know that my true intentions had nothing to do with these spectacles. I looked directly at the elderly woman everyone was surrounding and asked, so you are the one called the immortal doctor who cures every disease? She says arrogantly, yes, I am. Why, I smile. I'd like to give you a piece of advice. It's a small thing to not recognize a person. But failing to properly educate your disciple and allowing her to mistreat people outside is a serious matter. I pause and point to a traffic signal in the distance. Your disciple is still kneeling there. Would you like to go and see? As soon as I finish speaking, a woman's sound of clearing her throat comes running in a panic. Her voice was shaking. Guruji, something is wrong. I don't know what has happened to the elder sister. She is kneeling on the road. No matter how much I pull her, she won't get up. In an instant, the decency and dignity completely vanish from the elderly woman's face. Her face becomes distorted as if she has swallowed a fly, her complexion changes. Finally, she walks away nonchalantly. Even as she leaves, she glares at me with a venomous gaze. A cold gaze, as if she's harbored an old grudge. I laugh silently to myself. Being connected to the Zhao family, she dares to falsify an order in my name, I say. It seems the time has come to replace my disciple. Zhao Gyro, coming from behind, saw that I'd even angered Guzer. A proud smile spreads across her face. I'm completely ruined now, she thinks. My sweet-tongued adopted mother, Zhao Gyro, thinks I've angered someone influential. And in the future, I'll have to come to her, crying and pleading. And when Buchu saw that there were no outsiders around, he couldn't even manage to pretend. He simply took off his veil and spoke, from today on, consider that we never raised you. From now on, our paths are different. Our paths are different. It doesn't matter to me. But the How director, who had come to pick me up on his small bike, couldn't stand it. He stopped the car and frowned. Hey, brother, how are you talking to me like that? Hearing the youthful remarks, the How director looked down at him and his rickety electric bike, disdainfully saying, this is your so-called influential person, he can't even afford a car. No wonder you look so small. He laughed. Is he here to threaten people by posing as a security guard? The How director almost laughed. He's thinking I'm even worthy of being a security guard. He's not even worthy. If his son could handle even half of my duties, the security guard heard. Immediately, filled with pride, he pointed his finger at us and said, what are you looking at? This place isn't for people like you. The How director immediately pulled out his identity card, which had 2 stars shining on it. The security guard's legs immediately began to tremble. Really, sir, the How director says with a cold laugh. Call your manager. I want to see how this big hotel treats guests. The security guard sits down on the floor. How could he have known that this man in a Chinese uniform, arriving on a broken bike, would actually turn out to be such a high-ranking officer? He's even more surprised when the officer turns and speaks to me, acting extremely polite. He even makes an IA gesture. The manager quickly pulls the security guard away. Just then, the How director asks me, Dr. Jiang, you also came to treat that little lady, right? I shake my head. I did, but not now. The How director quickly continues, then let's go back. Uncle Liang and the others are waiting for you in the square. They shouldn't suffer from heat stroke in this heat. They also tell me that some people from the district who recently arrived were looking for me. A group of beautiful girls surrounded an elderly man. They looked quite impressive. They stopped them. Those deceitful adoptive parents of mine in Anha district probably mentioned this too. Something stirs in my mind. Next time they come, let them in. Maybe they're my real parents who've never seen me. I don't think much. I just bow my head and reply to a message. I tell director how to hurry back, so Uncle Liang and the others don't have to wait too long. Meanwhile, outside the colony, an elderly man with a disfigured face appears in a top-model business car. Wasn't it said he lived here? Then why is everyone saying there's no such person here? I was returning on my small electric bike. But I didn't know that the same top-model business car passed by me. A subordinate in the car timidly reports. Master, news has come from Anha district that the Yu family gave false information about the son. Maybe the young master is still in the Yu family, and the one being called Jiang Chairman Kansas. That old man was actually my own grandfather, who had been desperately searching for me. His body was already broken from thinking about me. The doctor, standing nearby, said with intense concern, Chairman Jiang, you have a lung infection. You need to be hospitalized immediately. But he refused to believe it. Finally, when his fever spiked, the driver forcibly dragged him away. In this way, my family and I passed each other, completely unaware. As soon as I returned to Aining Colony, neighbors surrounded me. Xingxi finally arrived. Little Ho was telling me that some suspicious people were looking for me. I had an inkling. It seems the Ho director is quite skilled at his work. I was thinking this when the Ho director happily approached me and said, Dr. Jiang, if you ever need anything else, please feel free to ask. I answered with an open heart. How director, why such formalities? Neighbors should help each other. This makes the director completely impressed with me. He's convinced that I'll definitely be something great in the future, and that I'm even better than the blind man I met in the hotel. There's a world of difference. Meanwhile, that man, Yuchen, receives a phone call. People have come from the user district. They clearly want to meet that fake son. Yuchen laughs coldly and says, we're short on money. They're trying to connect with our family. What a shame. He casually orders, send someone and deal with it. Don't be too rude. I still have a drinking party to celebrate. Little did he know that the poor relatives he was talking about driving away were actually the very people he was willing to try to please, the very person he always looked down upon, and this decision would become the biggest regret of his life. By evening, a long queue had formed in front of my pillow shop. I was so busy I didn't even have time to drink water. Just then, the phone started ringing loudly. When I opened it, it was a flood of messages. Boss, why did you refuse that one order? Boss, I already told my family you'd be coming. Boss, did something happen to you? I'm coming to pick you up in my car. I replied simply, I'm at the pillow shop. Someone named Lafiafai refused to give up. She kept hounding me, relentlessly, on the screen. She kept pleading. My gaze hardened for a moment. I typed a line and immediately hung up. Lofei, you know my principles. I don't listen to stubborn people. I raised my head and looked at a distressed old man standing in front of me. Uncle, where's the problem? The old man was dressed in ordinary clothes. It was clear he wasn't from this colony. Oh, man, this arm just won't lift. I reached out and lightly patted his shoulder. I understood immediately. He's caught a cold. His bones are a little weak. He's under pressure from sleeping on the same side for so long. The old man immediately panicked. He's gone now. I smiled slightly. It's just a minor problem. What's the need for an operation? I don't need an x-ray or an operation. Give me your hand. The old man extends his arm with half-assed conviction. The next moment, I grab his arm and immediately apply firm pressure to the acupressure point and pull it upward. A crackling sound is heard. Before the old man can understand, I smile. Try it again. The next moment, the old man's eyes widen. A look of disbelief appears on his face. Oh, she's healed. She's really getting up. This wasn't unusual for the people in the colony. But the old man's eyes immediately filled with tears. He held my hand tightly. Thank you so much, doctor. Immediately after this, something he said suddenly hardened my gaze. I'd been to so many major hospitals. Even the director said that this arm wouldn't heal without an operation. My heart sank. Director. The old man continued, there was no money at home. I was about to abandon treatment. It's good that I found you. He became so emotional that he was almost on his knees. I quickly calmed him down, but then I heard a shocking figure. But Dr. Gu said I had to have the operation. The cost was exorbitant. 10 million. There was an immediate commotion. This was a waste. Is this Dr. Gu robbing? But he's the most prominent doctor in the southern city. People go crazy for specialist appointments. I understood the whole thing. Again, the same Gu family, mistaking poor people for fools, exacts exorbitant fees. 10 million for a simple bone problem. I was trying to console everyone. God will surely reward those who truly care for humanity. But the fire in my heart was already raging. Those who know me understand that the calmer I am, the more dangerous I am. It seems my temper has become too soft, which is why some people have forgotten the status of Tienga. Without saying a word, I took the opportunity and hung up. I logged into the medical world's dark web, unknown to outsiders. Here, I'm known as the Divine Hand Physician. I posted just one line from the Divine Hand account. From today on, Taiyang will not provide any medical assistance to the Gu family. Anyone who violates this, including medical prescriptions and Taianchigo herbs, will be permanently expelled from Taiyang. Just one line, a complete excommunication. The entire dark web exploded instantly. Oh my god, how did the Gu family offend the Divine Hand? How will the Gu family survive in the medical world without Taiyang? All the big families immediately sprang into action. My inbox was flooded with messages, with Lu Little Mistress being the most impatient. The boss is very wise. After all, this wealth has finally reached our Lu family. But none of this mattered to me. I simply hung up the phone, raised my head, and smiled gently at the next patient. What's your problem? Who would know about this physician who has caused such a stir in the southern city? Right now, he's sitting on the roadside, treating people for free, while the elderly woman, who people called Dr. Gu, is sitting in a top-class hotel, enjoying the Yu family's favors. Everything that just happened, oblivious to the events unfolding, she was swaying. Seeing the Yun family members attending to her, all the anger from the insult she received from me seemed to subside. At the dinner table, Yun Qinglai was almost on her knees, offering her tea. Teacher, please have some tea. The old woman's face lit up with satisfaction. I promised you right then and there, from today on, you're my disciple, Kumiko. I'll arrange for you to go to any hospital you want. But just at that moment, while the entire family was celebrating, the room door suddenly slammed open. A female assistant rushed in, panicked. Guzer squealed. The old woman's face instantly stiffened. But the visitor didn't have time to care. She simply handed the phone to her. Her voice trembled. Has Tiangu excommunicated the Gu family? The old woman's face went completely white in an instant. The hot tea spilled directly onto Yun Qinglai. He snatches his phone and feels the world spin as he hears the expulsion order issued by my own hands. He lands on his chair with a thud. How is this possible? He starts yelling at the medical students like a madman. Who offended T on Edge? And the funny thing is, even his beloved disciples didn't know what T on Edge was. He didn't even remember how the Gu family was able to dominate other major families without T on Edge's medical assistance. He had no idea that the boy he thought was dead was actually the key to his Gu family's downfall. This fool was still wondering if his dirty trick of defrauding the poor at the hospital had been discovered. Just then, Zhou Zyro, who seems clueless, steps forward to offer reassurance. Gu, sir, it's just a small group. Don't worry. Gu, the elderly woman thought to herself, how do you know the small group? You know, Tan Edge has been around for 100 years, it's been a special part of the Imperial Palace, and you're talking about the small group. But Gu, the elderly woman, the old fox, stopped herself, agreeing with her and saying, you're right, it's just that today is Karosi Day, and I've been a bit unlucky. I didn't even dare to tell you that the drug analysis that won the award abroad was actually provided by my Tiana Ige. Meanwhile, Gu, the elderly woman, was still showing the Yu family grand dreams. She deliberately changed the topic and said that they still lacked the herb Tianchao, a medicine to treat these diseases. Yun Qinglai innocently blurted out, Dad, I remember Grandma had a lot of traditional medicines and a medicine book. Gu, the elderly woman, feigned surprise. Yun Buchuan tried to evade the question. But the bush laughs and says, where would that poor old woman get such valuable things? It must be some junk. Seeing the right opportunity, the old woman throws the bait. That invitation from the Yin family might not be everyone's cup of tea. Upon hearing Yin family, Zhou Zier immediately falls into the trap. Gu, sir, we are one family now. We will definitely send you those herbs and that medicine book of Tianshi and Tianshi. Yubican also becomes completely enthusiastic. Okay. I'll send someone to the old mother tonight. What a wonderful drama of mother-son love. Stealing their own mother's things to please a stranger. The old woman laughs heartily. She makes a big promise. Then take Qinglai with me. Maybe this little mistress will also catch her eye. Hearing this, Zhou Zier's face turns red with excitement. Yun Qinglai also seems lost in a dream. As if he's already seeing himself as the son-in-law of the biggest family in the 39 city. It's like daydreaming. At this moment, I was completely oblivious to everything. I'd just seen off my last patient. I told him, keep your salt in your food very low. And if anyone suggests surgery again, don't listen. The old man thanks me with tears in his eyes. I'm about to pack up my shop when a woman in a formal suit, who's been standing nearby for a while, suddenly blocks my way. Sir, 7th young master, I finally found you. Her voice was choked, her chest heaving with excitement. But no matter how hard I tried to recall, I couldn't recall anyone like that. I picked up my bag and said calmly, you're introducing me to someone else. The woman's face immediately turned sad. Perhaps she saw that I had a medical background and that I didn't match the information they had, so she thought this was a situation that could catch anyone looking for a cure. I turned and started walking, but she blocked my path again. This time, she said it differently, brother, can you come with me to the hospital? Then, wiping her sweat, she began to explain quickly. Our boss suddenly developed a fever in the village. A whole day has passed. I took medicine, I put him on a drip. Nothing has worked. The temperature isn't coming down. I want you to go and see him. I was about to refuse. After all, there are much more skilled doctors at the hospital, and more importantly, I had to go to my grandmother's Ayurvedic clinic. Just like that, my family threw me out of the house. Grandma didn't know this yet. But then Manager Lee, in a panic, blurted out, our boss is admitted to the affiliated hospital of Southern City Medical University, and he's being treated by the same Gu doctor. I'm afraid he might misdiagnose him. Gu doctor, I say, again, that name. My steps halt. I have to go now, I say, still in a formal tone. I'll take a decision to go home and see him. The doctor's fee is 1,000 rupees. I'm okay, yes. Manager Lee nods vigorously. Her gaze was as if she were looking at a deity. For just 1,000 rupees, she felt a deep sense of compassion. Immediately, Manager Lee hurries me to the side of the road. She respectfully opens the car door. Come sit. A business car worth over 3 million yuan. The number plate is 88888818. Such a thing is beyond the capacity of an ordinary manager. My heart immediately flutters. I deliberately ask, changing my tone to a relaxed tone. Upon hearing that the sick man's surname is Jiang, Manager Lee, who was about to get into the car, suddenly falters. She immediately breaks into a sweat. She stammers, how did you know this, little doctor? I curl my lips slightly with one hand. With a cunning fox-like smile, Manager Lee says, don't worry. I just guessed. I guessed. Manager Lee heaved a sigh of relief and truly agreed. Perhaps he thought that a mere, undegreed doctor like me, wandering the colony, could never have any connection to Jingdu circles. There was no further conversation on the way. The car soon stopped at the medical university hall. Right in VIP ward number 601, the young old man had already begun babbling with fever, repeating over and over again, Xiaoqi, where are you? Grandfather misses you so much. And the doctor who had come with the Jiang family was becoming increasingly restless. But the hospital authorities said that Dr. Gu had been called and was still on his way. Meanwhile, Gumiko was fidgeting with the phone. As soon as he realized it was just a simple case that would require extra time, his face turned completely indifferent. Get registered first. You really think anyone can get treatment from me? He frowned until he learned the patient was from Jingdu. Then, he slowly agreed, he understood. Tell the family to wait. The Jiang family doctor was pacing anxiously outside the ward, pleading, when just as he was about to ask the family for help, a shocking scream came from inside the ward. Something's wrong. The patient's heart and lung function are suddenly declining. Immediately, male doctors and female nurses ran down the corridor, shouting, where is the patient's family? We need the operation. We need the family signatures. I had just entered with Manager Lee when I saw this scene. Manager Lee's patience completely broke. He grabbed the pale Jiang family doctor's hand and asked, what's wrong? The doctor's eyes were red, his voice trembling. It seems Mr. Chairman will be difficult to save. Manager Lee immediately exploded. How is this possible? He said. They said it was just a common cold, the Yang family doctor said, deeply disappointed. That was indeed the case at first. But Mr. Chairman already had a lung problem. This time, they had been working tirelessly for days trying to find Xiaoqi young master. But Manager Lee no longer had time to dwell on these matters. He yelled at the doctor, then treat him. Do you want something to happen to Mr. Chairman at our hands? But the doctor simply shook his head. There was no way out. The Gu specialists and specialists haven't arrived yet. I've never seen such a disease before. Mr. Chairman was there right then. I interrupted him. I'll try, he said coldly. In an instant, everyone's eyes were fixed on me. The Jiang family doctor suddenly turned and looked at me, his face completely shocked. Before Manager Lee could introduce himself, a sharp voice came from behind us. I turned around and saw, wow, it's the old lady Gu. He's late. His face darkened as he saw me. You're that greedy fellow again. You didn't get your money, so you've come to the hospital to cheat. He yelled at the doctor who came running. Who brought him here? The doctor quickly explained that we were the patient's family. But this only enraged the old lady. She thought we were the ones who were there. Get everyone out first. I'm not used to anyone else being around, he said, waving his hand arrogantly. Manager Lee immediately flew into a rage. No, we have to stay here. But the old lady said with a cold laugh, if this isn't acceptable, don't take my registration. He looks at me with disdain and says slowly, this boy of yours insulted me earlier. If this idiot apologizes to me with his own mouth, I'm ready to see him right away. Go to hell with your apology. Manager Lee is so enraged that his stomach is shaking. He's about to attack when I reach out and stop him. I say this in a calm voice, without any movement, while watching Elder Jiang struggle for life inside the ward. Remain calm. Saving human lives is the most important thing. The rest will be discussed later. Hearing this, Manager Lee stares at me with his red eyes, emphasizing each word. I agree with you, and I urge you to bring him back from the jaws of death. The elderly woman looks at me with disdain. You guys really believe that a clumsy person can treat him? Oh my god, how uneducated you are. Even the female doctor on duty standing nearby has a look of doubt. She doesn't trust me at all. The old man's illness is very complicated. He can treat him. I don't have time to argue. I simply bow my head and gently turn my watch. Then, slowly raising my head, I recite a complete list of symptoms in a cool, clear voice. The patient began with deep, heavy breathing. A high fever that wouldn't subside. Then, a throbbing, dry cough, and a hint of blood in his throat. He might have lost consciousness by now. As soon as I finished speaking, the doctor on duty's eyes suddenly widened. Because everything I said was completely correct. You really understand medicine. Her voice was filled with surprise, but the elderly woman said with a cold laugh, what understanding of medicine does he have? He must have come after hearing the symptoms from a nurse. The nurse standing next to her immediately protested, this gentleman has just arrived. We haven't even spoken to him yet. Hearing this, the elderly woman immediately seized on the issue and, in a pressured tone, said, how old is he? He's treating people without a license. Without a word, I placed a certificate on the chair, clearly marked chief physician. The sound was like a hard slap to the elderly woman's cheek. All the doctors and nurses present immediately understood. Being a chief physician at this age is considered equivalent to a professor in the southern city. Now, who would dare say I'm not worthy? There was no expression on my beautiful face. I walk straight towards the elderly woman and say just 2 words, move aside. Her old face turns pale and pale. Yet, she stares at the certificate, as if to see if it's a fake. And then I'm called inside world with Manager Lee. As soon as I enter, I hear the elderly woman's shrill voice outside. Turn on all the recording devices in the emergency room. If anything happens, our hospital won't be held responsible. He was completely convinced that the elderly man Zhang's illness couldn't be cured. He was just waiting to see if I could kill the patient. I'd be disgraced. But I didn't care about the spectacle outside. In the emergency room, I wore a medical mask and a gown, my movements were completely silent. I order a chest x-ray of the patient. Dr. Lin immediately hands it over. I just take a look. Severe pneumonia with heart failure, she nods. I open my medical box and ask further. Please provide details of the patient's past illnesses and the medications he's been taking. Dr. Lin's face shifts in difficulty. He's 78 years old. He has heart disease, high blood pressure, and allergies to several medications. We can't boldly administer any medication. I listened, but didn't panic at all. Instead, I pulled back Elder Zhang's long sleeve. There really was something there. Dr. Lin's pupils dilated. I said this nonchalantly. But it was like an explosion in a calm lake. It's a tick bite. The elderly woman laughed coldly and said, he's from the village. Obviously, these insects have some sense. If you dare, try treating them with a scale. But I ignored her and pulled a row of silver needles straight from my box. In an instant, the gazes of all those who had just been expecting me faded. Disappointment and whispers began. You're thinking of injecting a needle into such a serious illness? You think it's child's play? Gu's old lady becomes even happier. Look, I told you he's just acting. Maybe his certificate is fake too. While everyone was making up stories, I raised my hand. The first needle landed exactly where it was. By Hui Shang Muchuang Xingling. Each time I inserted a needle, I kept saying a technique. The voice wasn't too loud, not too fast, not too slow. I checked the pulse with my left hand. I inserted the needle with my right. The movements flowed like water. The entire observation room fell silent in an instant. I could feel everyone's gaze change. This was a needle technique that couldn't be learned from books. Gu's old lady's face changed as well. He really knows how to insert needles, he muttered. How is that possible? But still, he refused to give up. Looking at the shocked looks of those around him, he said with a forced swagger. It's clearly a pretense. It's just a random act. What good will this do? The moment he finished speaking, the nurse's excited voice echoed from inside. The fever has broken. The patient's fever has broken. The temperature has dropped to 37.3. The patient's pupils have dilated. He's regaining consciousness. His heartbeat is also completely stable. This causes a commotion in the observation room. Manager Lee Tagu looks at the old woman's nose, pointing his finger at her. He says, look, it's 100 times better than some so-called experts. I can imagine how badly Gu old lady's slapped face must be burning, and I was calmly opening the wound and carefully removing the poison. Then I heard Jiang old lady muttering, Xiao Qi, is this Xiao Qi? I don't know where she got so much strength from. She suddenly grabbed my wrist. At that very moment, in the hospital's VIP elevator, the hospital director and deputy director were trembling with fear before a woman. She was dressed in simple but elegant clothes, the brand of which was unrecognizable. Her face was pale, but she had a special elegance. The threat in her eyes was so intense that it was difficult to breathe in front of her. The director, wiping away a cold sweat, reassured her in a trembling voice, Miss Yan, don't worry. The good doctor at our hospital is an expert. He's the one treating Jiang old lady. There will be no problem at all. But he didn't know who Miss Yan was talking about. Yan Rushi, the head of the Yan family in Southern City, whom no one dares to mess with. She wasn't even looking for the good doctor. Just then, a woman twisted a rosary around her wrist, lowered her eyelids, and said in a slightly stammering voice, Miss Yan, I'm really not lying. Even if we had 800 courageous men, we wouldn't dare delay Elder Zhang's treatment. But the woman, named Yan Rushi, said nothing, just stood silently, but her dominance was steadily increasing. The director's legs began to tremble. As the elevator door opened, she signaled them to exit first. But as she stopped outside the observation room, her eyes fell on the mustache. Her voice instantly became as cold as ice. Wasn't it said that the good doctor was treating her, so who was this? At that moment, I was removing the needle. Her movements were swift and precise. But she still senses my age from my glistening eyes. The deputy director, drenched in sweat, can't utter a single word. The director immediately grabs the elderly woman standing next to him and says, "Good doctor, why weren't you inside? Who is this treating boy?" The elderly woman still tries to complain. "Director Liu, that's what I was going to tell you. This Dr. Lin is very bold. He let a novice treat him without the family signature." But the director doesn't seem to listen at all. He immediately shouts angrily, "I'm asking, why weren't you inside?" The elderly woman says, carelessly, "There were no family signatures. Besides, this is just an ordinary patient. Why do I need to treat him myself?" That careless, contemptuous tone completely inflames the director's anger. The ordinary patient almost drives the director mad. His blood boils with rage. That's the Jiang family of Jingdu. "Jiang, Mr. Gucho, have you gone mad?" The Jiang family of Jingdu. The Jiang elder, the words explode like a bomb in the ears of the elderly woman. Her vision goes dark. She sits upright. The director angrily yells, "You were asked to treat such a powerful person, and you didn't even recognize the opportunity." The elderly woman seems paralyzed. Her eyes remain fixed on me, standing in the emergency room. Squandered such a good opportunity to a stranger. Damn. The more she thought about it, the more she became enraged. Finally, she suffered a stroke and collapsed unconscious. The nurses quickly took her out. Chaos erupted outside the emergency room while I was wiping my hands with an alcohol-soaked cotton ball. It was as if someone was watching me from the very beginning. Perhaps my gaze was too sharp. The woman, too, raised her eyebrows and turned her head slightly. The next moment, our eyes met in a strange way. I made eye contact with her, but neither of them looked away. Wow. I've seen so many beautiful women in my life. But never has a face so exquisite. That pale, sickly face, those deep, dark eyes. So elegant yet delicate, just the way I like it. But the next moment, Manager Lee, the one who had brought me in for treatment, respectfully runs in front of her. I can't hear her voice clearly through the glass. I just see Manager Lee bowing his head and explaining something. Immediately, the stunning woman looks at me again. She says just 3 words in a cold tone. "Little doctor, I've just brought someone's fever down." I open the door and exit. Ignoring her words, I explain to Dr. Lin standing next to me, "Monitor your temperature for the next 2 days. Do more physiotherapy. I'll write a prescription shortly. Prepare the medicine accordingly." I hadn't even finished speaking when a group of doctors in white coats surrounded me. Curiosity shone in everyone's eyes. They anxiously asked, "Can this needle technique be learned? What's so difficult about it?" Lifting my chin, I say in a calm voice, "Yes, everyone, grab your pens and take notes. I'll explain the important points twice. I don't feel like repeating them again and again." The tone was so composed, it was as if I'd been teaching classes forever. Just then, the elegant woman standing outside the crowd looks on with interest. She even raises her hand to her side. She gestures Director Liu, who's about to say something, to be quiet. Her long fingers rest on her lips. Her voice is low, cold, yet beautiful. "Don't disturb my class." Director Liu's face turns pale. The ruler of 39 cities, to whom even the entire southern city bows, has sat down to listen to my traditional medicine and acupuncture class. I cleared my throat. I was about to remove the needle when I suddenly stopped. Glancing around, I realized I was still missing a living experiment. Everyone was stunned. Director Liu was about to step forward when my eyes crossed hers and landed on the stunning woman standing next to her. Yes, I was about to choose her. Amid the silent whispers that lingered in the cold air, I took long strides and stood directly in front of her. The air froze in an instant. The atmosphere was both intriguing and dangerous. Our exchanges were like those of a mischievous wanderer encountering a snow angel. The atmosphere was truly magnificent. As I approached, the coldness in her eyes deepened. So I stopped at a safe distance and removed my mask. I said with a slight laugh, "You're the family, Novana." Manager Lee was about to explain when the woman coughed slightly and said in her deep, slightly intoxicating voice, "Suppose, accept it, what nonsense is this?" I didn't have time to argue. I decided straight away, okay, no problem. Just go through the process on behalf of the patient's family. Manager Lee was about to say something again when the woman interrupted him with a cold, "Okay." At this, not only Manager Lee but also the bodyguards who had just arrived froze. What had they just heard? Their mistress, so refined that she washes her hands before even shaking her own grandfather, had allowed a stranger to approach her. It was absolutely unbelievable. I didn't care what they thought. I saw the woman lean forward slightly and come closer to me. The scent of sandalwood and medicine mingled. "How are you supposed to accompany me?" "Just stand there. Don't move," I said, raising my eyelids and smiling. "Don't worry. It won't hurt." She was still coughing. Her face had turned red from the coughing. Seeing this, I felt a strange tenderness. So I gently placed my hand on her arm. The next moment, the mild sweetness of the mint immediately soothed the itching in her throat. Her beautiful black eyes filled with surprise for a moment. She was about to say something when I interrupted her. "It's herbal candy. You look so poor, and I'm giving you this simple candy for free." This was said so casually that Manager Lee immediately broke into a cold sweat. He gestured wildly at me, as if to say, "Sir, do you even know who she is? She's the queen of all 39 cities, and you're saying she's poor and simple." Director Liu nearly fainted, but that woman, Yi Luosher, simply continued to twirl her beads calmly. The tip of her tongue touched the candy. Manager Lee, frightened, quickly tried to control the situation. "The little doctor's tongue is a little simple, don't mind," he said. But then suddenly, Count Luosher burst into a soft laugh. A laugh so light, so soft, "You're absolutely right." She sank for a moment, laughing. Yes, after all, those who look good also talk well. My heart filled with joy. Immediately, I turned and looked at the doctors. "Everyone's here." "Yes. Everyone's here." Their response was more disciplined than a classroom. The next moment, I raised my right hand and straightaway unbuttoned the first button of Yi Luosher's suit. Her eyebrows furrowed. The corners of her eyes lifted slightly, as if to say, "You didn't mention unbuttoning your clothes." I ignored her gaze and said, "Today, I'll also teach everyone a point that stops coughing." Saying this, my fingers rested on the back of her neck. My gaze instantly became cool and professional. I continued explaining the technique of silently inserting needles within a 1-inch radius, while simultaneously shifting my finger positions. From the back of the neck to behind the ears. As if this point controls heat release, today's patient's illness was in the lungs. There was a buildup of moisture and heat in the body. The Ta Thien Liang Jinfa technique could be used for this. The more deeply I explained, the brighter the doctor's eyes became. No one noticed that the person I was teaching by using a living example, Yan Laxi's eyes were beginning to change color. She could feel every touch, every inch, every millimeter of my fingers with such directness. I could feel her eyes fixed on my face, as if trying to examine something. Even when my class ended, not a single red spot appeared on her body. This only intensified her gaze, while the ward doctors were still eager to learn more. Even Director Lu's eyes lit up, as if he had discovered some extraordinary talent. But at that very moment, when my fingers she moved away. I saw Yilashi's throat shake slightly, as if the itch in her throat had just gotten worse. It was a very effective, seductive gesture. Who doesn't know this in all 39 cities? This big lady had reached such a peak today. But right now, the collar of her shirt was open. Her hair was a little disheveled. Seeing this, Manager Lee, standing next to her, was startled. The look she was looking at me was unlike anything before. It had become dangerous, as if she was considering where to sell my body. Manager Lee clutched his head in pain. Your ruined little doctor has torn the sky today. But I had no idea the seriousness of this matter. I finished the blood test, picked up my bag, and was getting ready to leave. Just then, that bald Director Lu appeared in front of me, brimming with enthusiasm. Your doctor, would you be interested in joining our hospital? We can discuss the salary. I raised my head and looked at him. I flatly refused, saying, no, I don't like getting up early. You can only see patients in the afternoon. Director Lu still refuses to give up. But I remain completely unconcerned. I just curl my lips and smile. For me, medicine is just a shock, and anyway, Director Lu, you've probably forgotten, her face fills with pain. I'm a student at a polytechnic college. You were the one who opened that perpetually loss-making school, I say, lifting my black bag. Director Lu is completely stunned. She's almost about to faint. How can you be a polytechnic student? I reply calmly. I'm preparing to take the technical entrance exam this year. But her fists clench. It's clear that this isn't the issue, it's the fact that a polytechnic student has been granted a license to be a chief physician that's surprising her. Director Lu takes a deep breath, yet refuses to give up. You really wouldn't think I could give you all the credit. Hearing this, I smile mockingly. Director, you probably don't know much about me. I usually come in late. I leave early. I've never cared about the credits. Director Lu gets really sad for a moment. But then, standing behind me, In Luosher suddenly turns up the corners of her lips. That smile is no longer ice-cold and dangerous. Instead, it's as soft as melting winter snow. It's dazzling. I don't understand it. Is it so funny? Her voice was filled with a smile. You almost gave Director Lu a heart attack. You're a wonderful person. My gaze hardens. I grab her wrist again. This time, I'm dead serious. The air around me seems to freeze in an instant. I look into her deep eyes and slowly speak each word. You don't have many years left to live. You know that. As I say this, the entire atmosphere falls into silence. In Luosher just stares at me silently. A reflection of light was reflected in her deep eyes. My heartbeat seemed to calm and indifferent. All eyes turned to the doctors standing nearby. The hospital director and deputy director immediately wave their hands away. Manager Lee's heart skips a beat. He immediately thinks of pulling me back. The elder lady's health is the family's biggest concern. They came to Southern City solely because of a rumor. The entire family came here solely because of a rumor. This shows how serious the elder lady's condition is. Little doctor, he said, you really brought up the most inappropriate topic at the most inappropriate time. The family's bodyguard was standing nearby. It happened exactly as expected. The bodyguard standing next to him, Yantini, immediately explodes. What nonsense are you talking about? His massive figure surges toward me like a mountain, as if he'll pick me up and throw me down in an instant. But Yen Lashi extends her hand and gently stops him. She coughs twice, her voice soft, yet warning. Then Yen Tianai clenched his fists, his eyes clearly filled with anger. It's as if he's cursing his mistress. I removed my hand from his neck. I wasn't surprised at all. I've seen such reactions many times in my years of practicing medicine. After all, no one likes to hear the word death. My principles are also very clear. If you don't trust me, I won't treat him. I chose him because his fate was very special. Absolutely brilliant, but he had a deep-rooted illness. My guru had said that whenever you meet someone with extraordinary but fragile fate, you should definitely help. But when I saw the intense reaction of his family, I didn't want to force it. I was about to open my hand when suddenly this Lashi spoke. Her beautiful voice was always filled with a smile. But what she said stunned everyone. Does everyone's breath stop? How can she remain so peaceful despite knowing that she has a short life? Immediately after this, she looks at me. A little cunning and a little curiosity in her eyes. Chokvai Ji chose me. It means you understood my illness. Her ability to read my intentions so easily astonishes me. But I don't hide anything from her either. I simply nod my head and say, your illness is in the bones. Not in the spleen. It's as if it's been there since birth, or maybe, there must be some other reason. This is the first time I'm seeing such a case. I need to investigate further. As soon as I finish speaking, the bodyguard named Yan Tianan immediately releases his grip. He stares at me with utter surprise. It was clear. My guess was right. Their grand lady's illness was indeed a birth defect. This was the greatest king of the Yen family. No outsider could have known about it. It was. Incheon immediately becomes agitated and steps forward. Grand Lady Tianan calls out to In Luosher again. But this time, her deep voice carries a bone-chilling harshness. Don't misbehave. Yet, risking punishment, In Tianan musters up the courage to shout. Grand Lady, seeing your pulse, I didn't expect In Luosher to continue my conversation with a laugh, and you're tired too. I don't want to see any more. I look at him. The corners of his eyes soften slightly. Laughter flows again. It's so easy to talk to intelligent people. My fingers rest on her wrist again. I carefully check her pulse. Then I say, there's no need to rush your illness. This is a person even Yamraj wouldn't want to keep with him. That's why she's still alive, and more importantly, she trusts herself more than God. Tied on her wrist is this rosary. It looks like a protective shield, but it's actually filled with a sedative that induces sleep. I'm nearby. I can smell it. Rubbing my stiff neck, I feel my eyelids starting to close. First, improve your sleep and diet. Eat well. Sleep well. It will be beneficial for your illness. Lin Lashi, looking at my tired eyes, says softly. Okay. The voice was so close that before I knew it, she had taken my bag from my hand. Tian, drop the little doctor home. Her voice was soft but carried an aura that no one could deny. Yantianya immediately bows his head and says, I didn't want to get too involved with anyone. I'll immediately refuse. There's no need. Where I need to go is right in front of the hospital. Manager Lee will drop me off. It'll be enough. Manager Lee immediately says, I'll drop you off. I'll go. Don't worry. Yan Lashi gives a brief nod. She doesn't say much. But Yantianya still doesn't stop suggesting. Big lady, will you keep the younger doctor's number? Hearing this, Yan Lashi looks at me again. I, too, take out my phone and hand it to her. Enter your number. I'll contact you later to show you the old man's medical history. I'll also check on you. Your number. Just then, that plump Director Lu sneaks up on me, standing on tiptoes and trying to peek in. I immediately turn off the phone. What are you doing, Director Lu? She laughs embarrassedly. So, will you keep my number too? If you need anything at school, let me know. I won't refuse. I treat everyone equally. But as I approached the elevator, I turned back and glanced at the woman standing in the light. Even though she understood everything clearly, she neither cursed fate nor blamed anyone else. Despite possessing such profound understanding, she had the manners to bow low and speak. Despite battling illness for years, there wasn't a trace of sadness in her eyes. She still looked absolutely beautiful. It would be a great pity if Yamarich really took such a person away. I was thinking all this when Manager Lee, standing next to me, suddenly spoke up. Little doctor, do you really want to treat the patient right now? I immediately understood the underlying meaning in her words. Wasn't she the daughter of the Jiang family? Manager Lee didn't have the courage to reveal this Lashi's true identity. She simply stammered and offered an explanation. Just assume she's a distant relative. The surname isn't Jiang. I bow my head, chewing on the candy, and smiling, thinking that Manager Lee would probably stick to her guns until the end. She'd say the old gentleman inside isn't Jiang. But Manager Lee immediately declares her loyalty, saying, I consider little Vaidya Ji my own. My master truly belongs to the richest Jiang family in Jingdu. I rest my tongue on the candy and say nonchalantly, Manager Lee, seeing my nonchalance, laughs in return. Little Vaidya Ji is truly amazing. Even after hearing all this, there's no expression on her face. I stop and, looking out at the distant street, say, a subordinate should protect his master's privacy. It's not your fault, let's just leave it at that. I'll be on time tomorrow. But Manager Lee doesn't leave, instead asking, won't little Vaidya Ji ask why the Jink family has come to Southern City? I say with a slight laugh. That's not something a doctor like me should ask. Hearing this, Manager Lee respects me even more. She even says outright, Chote Vaidyaji, if you don't mind, I'd like to make you my younger brother. When you come to Jingdu next, elder sister will take care of you. After all, going to Jingdu is inevitable, as Tianga's roots are there. I like people like Manager Lee, who neither rush nor fear, and there are also wise ones. So, with a heartfelt smile, I say, from now on, I'll call you Big Sister. Manager Lee is overjoyed. She immediately replies, my name is Shooting, so from now on, I'll call you Little Brother. Perhaps she had no idea I'd say yes so quickly. But the next moment, her face suddenly turns serious. Little brother, my brother, as your big sister, I must tell you something. That person who just passed away is of great status. If you treat him properly, your fortunes will shine. But if you can't, you might face difficulties. Hearing this, I smile lightly. Don't worry, big sister. There hasn't been a disease I can't cure. Li Shooting's eyes flutter in surprise. So, you can really cure him? Absolutely. I say without hesitation, it'll just take a little time. I don't know if big sister has heard that old saying. Which saying? She becomes completely curious. Yamarich sends death to someone in the third watch. But the divine hand saves him until the 5th hour. I don't tell him. I just say with a slight smile that those born with great luck often pass away early. That person's luck was too strong. His body couldn't bear it. That's why he's been suffering from illness for a long time. I know how to treat such illnesses best. Li Shooting listens with wide eyes in surprise. She murmurs softly, little brother, your words sound like those fortune tellers sitting under the bridge. The smile in my eyes deepens. The corners of her eyes turn up slightly. Maybe I can really predict the future. Li Shooting doesn't believe it. She just takes it as a joke. As long as you know everything. It's fine. If you have any problems, tell your sister. I may only be the executive general manager, but I can help with people's affairs. I'm a little surprised to hear this. I had no idea she was the executive general manager. Judging by her demeanor, I thought she was an ordinary worker. Just then, Li Shooting suddenly looks around. Lowering her voice, she says, little brother, there's one more thing I need your help with. The Jiang chairman has come to Southern City this time because his grandson, who was lost abroad, was caught by child traffickers. We had some clues before, but now there's no news again. You treat children. You know a lot of people. Can you help sister find him? My heart flutters. This is the same order I refused earlier. It seems I have a deep connection with the 7th young master of this Jiang family. So I nod and say, okay. Li Shooting breathes a sigh of relief. But then, Li Shooting's face gradually turns strange. She thought I would take her to some luxurious neighborhood nearby. But instead, I take her down a pitch-dark, narrow alley. The streetlights flicker. The ground is full of potholes. Li Shooting's eyebrows tighten further. Finally, I stop in front of an old, dilapidated traditional medicine clinic. Calling it a clinic might be an understatement. The sign near the door clearly read, foot massage 30, body massage 50, silk oil bags at a special discount. It clearly resembled a small massage center. Li Shufeng looks at me, a look of pure surprise on her face. Little brother, I say, picking up my bag. This is my grandmother's house. Hearing this, Li Shufeng becomes completely upset. Suddenly, it slips out of her mouth, "Hey, little brother, if you have any problems at home, my sister will get you a house." I immediately interrupt her. "Big sister, you're overthinking. I'm not poor." But she doesn't believe it at all. She takes a deep breath, as if she's made up a story in her head. "Your entire family lives in a place like this. Yet, you're not poor. No wonder. You never go to class. You must be trying to earn more money for the family." I don't have time to explain. I'll let her think what she wants. Whatever her elder sister says is right. Her gaze was like that of an idiot. She narrowed her eyes and advised me, "Sister, I tell you, the Jiang family and that hospital owner both have a lot of money. You should fully recover your doctor's fees. Why just 1,000? Why not ask for 10 million? That's too little." I nodded repeatedly. "Yes, I know. She was right. If the treatment really needed to last long, I'd definitely be screwed by the market." But Li Shooting continued to shake her head. It was as if she had high expectations of me that weren't being met. "I'll definitely find a way for you." With that, she turned and walked away. Her expression suggested she was about to go and gather herbs for me. I twisted my lips and smiled. I didn't stop her. It was now 10:30 at night. Grandma was probably asleep. I also don't feel right bringing anyone inside the house. Thinking this, I reach out and open the door. But the sight inside makes my blood freeze. The entire room is in disarray. The medicine table is in the worst condition. It's clear someone had ruthlessly turned everything upside down. Herbs were scattered everywhere. The medicine cabinet was toppled. The wooden footbath was lying upside down. Even the medical books were torn so badly that their stubbornness